Okay, so I grabbed Naka, the stuffed dog, to demonstrate the size of the trap. So we want to make sure that the door does not contact the shoulder of the animal. So the dog will dip its head to walk in, but he's not going to crouch his body. He's not going to get down and sort of low crawl into a trap. So we want to make sure that whatever trap we have, the height of the door when it's open is not going to contact the shoulder. And that's not only the crouching thing, but we do not want this door to touch the shoulder, because if this door gets bumped, it trips the trap, the dog has a bad experience with the trap, and that dog just became much, much more difficult to trap. But there's a lot of strategy that can go into dog trapping, but the strategy for placement of traps and the strategy for sort of prep work to help condition animals to want to go into traps between dogs and cats is exceptionally similar. So we're going to be talking about that specifically in the cat video. So there is a module on cat capture. We'll be talking about trapping of cats, but we'll also be talking about those strategic parts. So we're going to skip that for dogs and just know that it's extremely, extremely similar. So we'll cover that in the cat session. All right, so I really believe that stability is one of the most important parts of humane live trapping. We need to make sure our trap is stable from end to end and from side to side. We need to make sure that when the animal steps in, the trap is not going to wobble in any way. That would be very off-putting and would make a dog very difficult to trap. So the way we achieve stability is by either choosing a surface that is already level or that lends itself to being made level. So dirt is ideal, without a doubt, dirt, sand, anything like that. We can work on any kind of surface that we need to. Do keep in mind that ideally, we're gonna cover the trap floor with dirt, something that's outside, same as inside. But if you can use cardboard, you can use towels, you can anything that will help them not step on metal. They're not gonna feel that weird sensation change. I've seen that be very, very effective with dogs, to just make sure that whatever you put in for a flooring is stable and it's not gonna sort of move around when the animal steps onto it. You don't want cardboard that like shifts downward when they walk in. But dirt is ideal, and since we're gonna assume every dog is difficult to catch, that's what I'm gonna show you in this video. So that's why a shovel is a key part of our tool. We need to do just enough prep work to make sure we have some loose soil across the entire footprint of the trap. I'm working with a pretty large 60-inch trap for this video, which is really the ideal dog trap. It's nice and big. Any animal's gonna love to go into it. They're gonna just not be able to wait to get inside of there. It's just so big and inviting. Most traps that you'll encounter are gonna be more 48 inches. Those are a little less costly, a little more common, but the 60-inch is just really, really ideal. So once we've done the initial prep work, we're gonna grab our trap, settle it in to that dirt. That gives us pretty good stability right there. I've still got a lot of exposed metal. I'm gonna grab my shovel. I'm gonna take some of this dirt. I'm actually gonna throw it right over the top. That's gonna help to filter out any big stuff, any rocks or anything that might make it a little more uncomfortable for the dog. Again, the more work we put into a single trap set, the more likely we are to catch a dog in it. Doesn't mean that we can't catch a dog just by sticking a trap in any old field or parking lot or whatever. That is possible, but we do not want a dog to have a bad experience with a trap. So if at all possible, this is what we want to do to prep our trap. Make sure we don't put too much dirt on the pan, the part that actually trips the trap. Okay, so now we've got a well-positioned trap, nice and stable. I'm not concerned about that at all. So next steps, let's get the door open. In this case, this is a Tomahawk live trap, gravity door trap. So it's got a bar that goes up. It's got sort of two rings that are joined by a bar, and so that makes it really easy to set almost with one hand. I'm gonna go in, make sure that my entry is solid. On the way up, I made sure that there's nothing blocking the door. So grass or anything like that can stop that door from closing. I'm gonna make sure that doesn't happen. Doesn't hurt at all to inspect your trap. Make sure that all your linkage is good. This little stuff on the top doesn't hurt anything. It's okay to also put some branches or something over your trap. I wouldn't cover it with a blanket or something like that. That's generally not gonna help us catch dogs. Normally, I set my traps just like this, no type of covering. Occasionally, we'll throw something on just to give them something different and see if that works for an individual dog. So it is well worth checking that your trap works. before you walk away from it. We are gonna open the trap to bait it because it's such a big trap. I'm gonna go ahead and test it by pushing down. All right, so grabbing my bait, because this trap is so big, I'm gonna put it right by the door, the primary amount of bait, and it's not much, a couple tablespoons of food. If you don't have a lot of other resource around, the dog is hungry, that's enough food to draw their attention. I'm gonna put a little bit, half a spoonful maybe even less, about a foot or two inside just to sort of lure them in. I'm gonna give them a little bit of free food, and that's it for baiting the trap itself. Now, another technique that works really well is to grab a water bottle, stick some like sardines in it and some water, and this is super gross, I know. Make a nice fish juice, poke a little hole in the top of that bottle, and you can use that to create scent trails. So I can sort of dribble this water with fish all the way across the field, and that way if an animal walks anywhere across that field, their nose catches that scent, they're like, ooh, that smells good, and then they can come check it out. And you can sort of drip some of that into the trap as well. Just makes a nice smelly feast kind of thing going on for the dog. So I've got my bait in here. I've checked that the trap works. I'm ready to reassemble. I want to make sure that the door is on correctly and that it's latched. This has got a little clip. Make sure that that's in place. I'm going to reset the door of the trap. And now I'm ready to catch a dog. Now, one other thing I want to point out before I walk away from the set, notice that the trap is up against a fence. It's really important to have your trap up against some object. Now, that could be the back up against the object or the side, so perpendicular or parallel. I don't think that matters too much, just making sure that the animal can't walk all the way around it. I think that gives it a less cage-like feel. And you will see some animals walking around a trap if it's just out in the open. And I definitely get the sense that they're less likely to go into the trap in that case. So we found pretty consistently our catch rates go up when we make sure that our traps are up against something, a wall, a tire, a fence, a bush, like anything, just enough. Like it's not touching the fence, doesn't need to be right up against it, just enough space that the animal can't really fit behind it. That really helps to increase our catch rate.